Goody, goody, goody. There we are. That's it's a good shot at the back of my head, wasn't it? That's Wayne Toops and Zyda Cajun and Sweet Jolene. And the faxes are coming in. Who's John Bates? He wants me to ring him urgently on 08986. Better not read the number out on the programme. This is my very good friend Denise, who you will have seen on many TV programmes, and we've met together, haven't we, over the years?
I've known you for a long... I've known you since you were a sweet little boy.
I'm still a sweet little boy. Don't you think I'm a sweet little boy? You can shush all of you up. Tonight, though, Denise and I, a little later on, we're going to take some calls, some serious calls, particularly about the problems, and it is a problem, about the age of consent, when somebody is actually legally allowed to have sex, whether they're gay or straight, and the problems that you can have if you feel you want to enter into a sexual relationship.
And if you feel you don't want to enter into a sexual relationship,
that's right.
Because the age of consent implies that when your 16th birthday comes up, you should, and I think that's a bad idea.
Yeah, because of course, I mean, I haven't indulged in one yet, as you know. But
you're not emotionally ready for it.
I'm not, am I? I'm not, am I? And a lot of people are ringing in at the moment. This is where the calls come, and the fax is over there. This is quite funny. Can you get a little look at this one or not? Daisy, camera 3. What do you think? Bit rude. Bit rude. Now, a lot of the politicians, Denise, have all sorts of things to say about this. Earlier, I went to meet Geoffrey Dickens, and he has some... You just watch this. You watch this. You'll enjoy it. Here.
Whaley goes to town.
Well, I've been on to my mates at the House of Commons and I said, talking about the age of consent, who's the best person to talk to? Geoffrey Dickens, they said. He's not here at the moment. Well, why don't you pop up to his house? He's having a few days off. It's rather nice, isn't it? He's probably asleep. Aha, Geoffrey!
Hello, James. I'm not surprised to see you.
No.
Surprise, surprise, I'm wearing a mic.
Oh, well, Geoffrey, come out into the garden, as they say.
nice.
I mean, it's too nice a day, really, with all this drizzle to stop indoors.
They tipped me off you were on your way, actually, you see.
Did they send people up with microphones and stuff?
They did, and they wired me up, and I'm ready for you.
OK. Geoffrey, this age of consent thing, not only the difference of the age of consent between homosexuals and heterosexuals, but there are all sorts of different things as well, aren't there, which you've had quite a lot to say about from time to time, I believe.
That's right. I mean, the things that do worry me, I mean, if you're talking about homosexuals, for instance, they seem... We put in an act in 1967 which made it legal for adults over the age of 21 to have homosexual relationships. It was an act of tolerance, compassion and understanding, and then somehow the homosexual fraternity wanted to lower that now to 16. They also wanted to bring in spouses from another country as their opposite number.
What, homosexuals?
The homosexuals, yeah. And I mean, they've taken it almost as a licence to recruit and promote their activities and flaunt their activities, which is a shame, I think, in a way. OK, so if 16 is the right age for consent, why is it not the right age for homosexuals? Well, it's a different thing. You see, homosexuality isn't natural. I mean, they'd be furious to hear me say it, but it isn't natural. I mean, it doesn't produce children. But we are tolerant towards it, and I think we do understand it.
It's not natural, because, I mean...
Well, I know what you're thinking of, the play La Cage aux Folles, when I am what I am and this is no illusion. And I'm sure they are what they are and it's no illusion. But what I think we have to be careful about, we wouldn't want people to be homosexuals that naturally wouldn't be homosexual. And
I mean, you must know a number of homosexuals.
Oh, yes, I mean everybody does.
Every walk of life, whether you're a politician or a member of the clergy, seems to have their...
Yeah, and I think all of us would agree. And I've got no time for queer bashers at all, but I think we would all agree that some of them are the very nicest people, creative people, artistic people that you could ever meet.
One thing occurs to me while we're talking here.
Right.
If I keep on in this direction, the crew are going to fall over the edge of the
that would be fun, though.
If you are gay, if you're homosexual, you are born that way. It's not something you actually catch. It's not something you can be encouraged into. You are actually going to be that way from birth, as it were. Now, I know there's some very strange and worrying people who want to introduce electric shock treatment and stuff like that. I think that's awful. If somebody is a homosexual, they should surely be allowed to start a full relationship at the age of 16.
No, I really don't think that's right. And I think a lot of parents would be worried that they would be enticed and corrupted to join in the homosexual fraternity when really their natural instinct may not yet have been sorted out. And I know it's a fierce area for debate, and I know that everyone's not right on these matters, but I think age of consent for normal relationships, 16 is okay, but I think this 21-year-old act, I think, is quite
You're going to get a lot of stick for this normal word here, Geoffrey, you know. I mean, normal is...
But, you know, I have stood up in the House of Commons and I have fought the corner for the homosexuals and saying that I am against the queer bashers, and I'll stand shoulder to shoulder with the homosexuals against the queer bashers. But what I would say is that they really know, most of them know, the sensible ones know, that they shouldn't flaunt their homosexuality because it disturbs the majority, the 95% majority. It disturbs people. That's the reason behind it.
Well, it doesn't disturb me. I mean, I don't think it disturbs somebody that isn't a homosexual unless they're perhaps not sure. Do you think that's a little problem here? Some people are not sure.
Yeah, that's about it. We probably don't understand it sufficiently, and we're probably not sure, and therefore we do them a terrible injustice.
Well, I'll tell you what, Geoffrey, we'll go and get a cup of coffee, all right? Yeah. We'll leave the crew to it. They won't like it very much, but that's what we'll do, all right? OK. So...
46-1000, James Whale.
Whoa, there we are. There. Do you like these, by the way? See these? That's what happened to the snake who was on the show last week. My shoes. Very nice indeed. Well, we saw Geoffrey Dickens there before, very convinced about which way his sexuality goes. With me is Dr. Barry Seal, who is an MEP, and for those people who don't know, that means a member of the European Parliament. And I say for those people who don't know because there is an election coming up, and not a lot of people know that, do they?
That's true. It's June 15th.
Is it likely to have any relationship to the age of consent for any of us, or not, of this election?
It won't be a point in this election, but certainly it's something that could concern the European Parliament in the future, because the age of consent is different in different countries. It's different for heterosexuals and it's different for homosexuals.
Now, certain countries in Europe, homosexuality is illegal too.
Absolutely. In Ireland, it's illegal.
Yeah. But there is something even more disturbing, and that is that apparently the age of consent for heterosexual couples, for men and women in certain countries, is different as well.
That's true.
I can't believe that. I think you're just winding me up.
No, it's true. In Greece, the age of consent for women for heterosexual relationship is 16, and for men it's 17. So you could get a situation where two 16-year-olds were having sex, and the woman would be committing an offence because she was having sex with an underage male who was the same age as herself. What
would happen to her? I mean, what are the penalties for people who are watching tonight who are going abroad on holiday? What can they expect to face if they're caught?
It could be quite bad for them in some countries, actually. Fortunately, for people going from Britain, it's not too bad unless you're a male, and you could have a situation in Greece, for instance, where you could find yourself committing an illegal offence. But it's probably more effect on people coming to the United Kingdom for holidays. For instance, the age of consent for women in Germany is 14. Yeah. In Britain, it's 16. So you could have a 15-year-old who had been having sexual relationships in Germany, come in here with a boyfriend and be committing an offence.
Now, apparently, the only thing you have to worry in this country, because we are one of the few, if not the only country, that put people in prison for this offence. Is that right?
For homosexual offences,
For homosexual offences. We're one of the only countries that put people in prison.
That's right, although other countries either have homosexuality illegal, they don't seem to enforce it the way we do in the United Kingdom. And since '85, since the Act was amended to make it illegal for consenting adults over 21, there have been a lot of people put in prison under 21, and we're the only country that seems to do that.
Talking about sex generally, just for one moment, I mean, there at the MEP, you're all trying to, all the MEPs at the place where you hang out. Where's that? Brussels, isn't it?
Brussels,
where you hang out. You're trying to get sort of currency and measurement, all this sort of stuff. Are we going to have an age of consent that's general to the whole of the EC or not?
I think eventually it will come, because the EC is concerned with citizens' rights. We have different ages for voting, for example. That will be the first to be harmonised. This is a term they use, a technical term, harmonised.
Sexual relationships will be harmonised in Strasbourg.
That's right. So I think it will eventually be a standardised age. Most countries where the age of consent is 16. Some are 14. In Greece, as I say, for men it's 17. A couple are 15.
OK, Barry, we'll talk to you a little bit later on. For the moment, thanks very much indeed. Dr. Barry Seal, who is an MEP. Now, a little music. Should we have a little music? Yeah. I like the side shot. Do you like that? I'm very glad it's now OK to wear red-rimmed glasses again. Steve Wright's not been rude about them, so I've got them back on tonight. The Outfield and Voices of Babylon. You're joking. You're joking. Hang on a minute.
Because it's not legal, and not that women won't allow it. But they know a man will, and all men at one time of their lives would like.
We're on the air.
Would like that one.
Oh. Sorry, I'm just getting some introduction on sexual technique from Cynthia over here. Who, so apparently there was a survey. I can't remember which one, which was being carried out, where 80% of men, and you watching at the moment, you think about it deeply, but 80% of men have considered at some time, only in their mind maybe, having a homosexual relationship.
Well, of course, of running my establishment for 20 years and also being a bit of an agony aunt, men have told me their secrets. And there has been a lot of married men that have had just one experience, one homosexual experience, and they've had this urge to try it, and they've done it.
Did you provide
And they felt very guilty afterwards.
Did you provide them with
that? Oh, no, because my establishment really wasn't, they weren't attracted to me because, you know, there wasn't the men there, was only young girls. But men do tell me their secrets, they're not ashamed, and I know for a fact that has happened.
What about, I mean, were you concerned about the age of consent being 16? Did you make sure that the guys that... I remember in the film about your life, personal services, you fixing up for your son to get a bit of...
well, he wasn't as young as that in real life. They put him as 15 in the film, but
so
he really was 17 and a half.
Cynthia, at that point, I wish she'd been my mum. At that point.
Oh yes, a lot of clients said to me at the time, "I wish I'd had a mother like you." And I said, "Why?" I said, "Because a lot of the women ran me down." They said, "No." They said, "I wouldn't have had so many sexual hang-ups if I'd had a mother like you."
Yeah. Okay.
So I think it's, but of course it was very embarrassing for me at the time. But
did you ever? I mean, we're going to talk a bit later on about people who have problems because of the age of consent being different for homosexuals and heterosexuals. But one of the things the MPs always say is, well, we don't want to encourage it. I mean, I don't know that you can encourage
it. You're either that way or you aren't.
Did you ever get people coming to you, though, trying to get you to perhaps stop them from being gay?
Well, we didn't have men come to never had men come to the house, you see.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of men. I know one man, for instance, that thought he was heterosexual and went with a homosexual for one evening, and he was a strong Catholic, you know, and he actually prayed to God after he'd done it because he felt so guilty.
You took confession, huh?
He took. No, but I think it's rather sad, actually.
Let's take some calls. Darren from Liverpool. Hi, Darren.
Hi, James.
Yeah.
I'm in a bit of a dilemma, really. I've got my best mate who's just rung me tonight and has told me that he has made love with his girlfriend.
Yeah.
Now, the problem is that his girlfriend is under the age of consent, and I'm terribly worried now. I'm caught in a moral dilemma whether, as a law-abiding citizen, I should report this to the authorities that my best mate has made love to his girlfriend who is under the age of consent.
Excuse me, Darren?
Yes, James?
Good night. Matthew, well, what a pillock. Matthew from Harrow.
I think he's joking a bit.
I think probably, Cynthia. I think you might be right there,
Having
Cynthia.
a bit of a
Matthew.
Hello, James.
Speak, Matthew.
All right. Well, my point is that you're not allowed to have sex at 16. Well, you're allowed to have sex at 16, but you're not allowed to watch it until...
Oh, really, Matthew? What a shame we missed you. Never mind, Matthew.
I think...
He's probably one of those people who likes to be on his own with his 10 little friends. Barry, hello.
Hello?
Hello, Barry.
Hello?
Yes, Barry.
Hello?
Yes, hello, Barry.
I've got a mouthpiece to my ear again, I'm always doing that.
Oh, Barry.
Can I order number 26, please, and the 43, that's chopped suey, and the prawn crackers, please. And
Barry!
You know what?
Barry!
Yes?
We're talking, we're talking about sex, Barry.
No, are they like...
Sex?
Are they like spring rolls? Are they like spring rolls, then? Can you...
Barry!
Can you bring me round?
Barry!
Yes, hello?
We're talking about sex. This is not a Chinese takeaway.
Oh, do you do pizzas then?
Bog off, Barry. I'm sorry about that, please, for goodness sake. Okay, I think, is it Angela now? Or is it Or is it Horace? Oh, it's Angela. Hello, Angela.
Hello.
I'm sorry about that. Oh, hello, Angela.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm just calling actually because when I was 11, the doctor put me on the pill.
Yeah.
And they never asked me how old I was actually. And I'm not actually 25 now and still taking the pill. And I went to the doctors about a week ago, and the doctors told me that I'm now addicted to penises.
Yeah. Well, listen, we've got
big hairy one.
We've got the we've got the number of a very good psychiatrist actually, and Can you make sure...
Me!
Can you make sure either Cynthia gets her number to talk to her after the programme or she gets a good psychiatrist? We're back after the break. Don't go away. I'm not comfortable yet. Hang on just a minute. That's it. OK, right. Well, after that rather informed and intelligent conversation, of which I'm sure we'll be having more a little later on, I thought here on the James Whale Extravaganza, nationwide, we would bring you the very cream of sophisticated entertainment. And ladies and gentlemen, for you tonight, Seconds Out.
What a bimbo. What a bimbo. James Whale. James Whale. The most famous man on planet Earth. Bimbo. Bimbo. Play it on me one more time. James Whale. James Whale. James Whale.
Spin the whole thing back. Here we go. OK, well, politicians have had their say, members of the public, organisations, all have their say about the age of consent as far as homosexuals are concerned. And we've come to the Manchester Gay Centre to find out what the people that this affects feel about it. Now, first of all, I want to know whether it has any relationship at all. I mean, does it matter that the age of consent for homosexuals is 21 or not? I mean, do you feel that it really is an issue?
I don't think the age of consent should be 21. I think it should be dropped to 18 all over the world.
Is that for heterosexuals as well?
Yeah, that's for everybody.
Why?
Because problem is, right, it doesn't consider to be an age of consent for lesbians, right? Or say it's for heterosexual people is 16. But I think if everybody should be the age of 18, not 21.
Yeah. I mean, have you Dominic, who is 18?
18.
I mean, have you ever broken the law? Have you ever had illegal sex?
Yeah.
Would you ever consider that you were a criminal in some way? Did you feel that you were doing something that was very wrong or not?
No. It's not wrong if I was straight and I was going with a girl, it'd be perfectly fine. Because I'm not. It's supposed to be against the law. But why should I be different? You know what you are by the time you're at least 16, 17.
How long has it been since you first realised that you were gay?
I was about 13 when I realised I was gay.
13?
But I didn't come out on the scene until much later. But by the time I was 13, I knew that I was gay.
Right, Sally, although there is no age of consent as far as lesbians are concerned, I mean, do you feel that it's just another tool that's used to highlight the difference between homosexuals and heterosexuals?
What difference?
The age, that there is an age of consent for consulting males.
But there isn't for consulting females.
Yeah. Do you feel that that is because a lot of people still, in this day and age, don't even like to admit there's such a thing as lesbianism?
Oh yeah, certainly. I think we do live in a very homophobic society. I think everybody has homosexual tendencies. Some people want to suppress them and taboo it. So they put a restriction on it, which is 21.
Terry, who's over on the end in the braces, does it mess your life up that the age of consent is 21? I mean, do you have a relationship with somebody at the moment?
I haven't got a relationship at the moment. I've not actually had a proper relationship anyway.
Yeah. Hang on, our sound man's having a little problem. Okay, well, if you've finished your coughing, we'll continue. You're saying basically you haven't had an actual full sexual relationship yet.
No, I've not had one.
So really, I mean, to an awful lot of people, heterosexual people, they may not have a sexual relationship until they're way over 16. So the age of consent really has very little to do with them. The age of consent, from an adult, from your parents' point of view, is sort of protective. It's there to protect you.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you know, like my mum and dad, you know, they say to me, for instance, when I first came out, and I was like, my dad was saying, you know, but it's not legal, and I said, well, I know it's not legal, but you know, if nobody ever sees it and whatever, nobody knows.
I always knew when I was about 12, I sort of found myself like looking at women and. Like, everyone at school's going, oh, he's nice, and I just didn't like men at all, unless he was, like, really feminine.
But, of course, a lot of people feel, I mean, I get the feeling that people in authority think that you're gay and young, therefore you can't actually be a responsible person because you're gay and you're young, so we've got to enforce a law to protect you against awful older people.
No, there's thousands of young people out there. I mean, there are older people who would.
I mean, how would you feel if you had a relationship with a guy who was over 21, but you were under 21, realising that if anybody found out, he would actually go to prison, that you would be okay, but he would go to prison?
No,
because they would actually put the blame on him, wouldn't they, presumably?
Yeah, they would.
Yeah?
Unless he was an MP.
46 1000. James Whale.
Okay, Denise is with me. We're here now to take some calls, and if you have some sensible calls on this, I trust as well. Denise, do you think that we're in danger of encouraging people to become gay if we were to lower the age of consent to 16 or not?
I don't think it would make any difference, because I don't think you can be encouraged to be gay. I think a small proportion of the population are naturally gay, and if we could all relax and realise that that's a fact of life and that there is not a huge... I think, to be fair to people, they feel as though there is a huge tidal wave of homosexuality, which, if it's left unchecked, will roll over the whole country.
But I got the feeling, talking to Geoffrey Dickens, that he felt that we could encourage people to become gay who weren't. I mean...
Well, he really wants to get his facts right, then. What can happen is that I have had some very tragic letters from people who were molested in childhood and who therefore took up a homosexual way of life because they felt they couldn't go back, they couldn't turn the tide. I have had many more letters from people who were molested by heterosexual people. So we've got to keep everything in proportion.
So we have it all out of proportion, basically, at the moment. Let's take some calls. Chris is calling us from Blackburn. Hello, Chris.
Hello, James.
Yes, Chris.
I'm 24 and I'm married with 3 kids, and I'm having a sexual relationship with a bloke called Mick who's 19. And what worries me is I've got a 14-inch dick.
Well, very lucky for you, okay? Thank you very much indeed, Chris from Blackburn. He probably has a problem, a psychological
He's got a lot of problems, and if he really does have children, they've got a problem too.
I wouldn't have thought he would know how to have children, but anyway. Seema from Derby, hello.
Hello. Hello.
Hi.
Yeah, my name's Simon, actually.
Is it Simon? It looks like Seema here, never mind.
Well, I'm not Seaman. Anyway, the thing is, why are we pampering to all these pufters? It's disgusting.
Do you think we are pampering to pufters?
It's
you
just
do?
not natural.
Uh-huh.
And, you know, why are we, like, bending down to them? And
What are you so scared about, Simon? Are you scared that your own sexuality is perhaps in doubt?
Women.
You're sure?
Oh, yeah.
Get rid of Simon anyway. For the moment, I don't want him on the programme at this particular time. Simon sounds like quite a lot of people. Actually, he thinks he's having a bit of a joke with us here, but he actually does...
I didn't think that he was joking. I think I got the impression that he was very serious and very angry, and that makes me sad. The trouble is that when you talk about promoting, I mean, this business of you shall not promote homosexuality, you shouldn't promote homosexuality in schools. You shouldn't promote anything in schools. Children are there to learn the facts. Homosexuality is a fact of life. And I just wish we could cool the whole thing. And people being silly or angry does not help in what is really a very difficult situation.
Let's try David from Bedford. David, you're on the air.
Hello, James.
Yes, David.
How old do you have to be bald?
How old do you have to be bald?
Yeah.
Start when you're a baby. Thank you, David. Greg from Coventry. Hello, Greg.
Good evening, James. How
Hi,
are you?
I'm fine.
Trigger, get in your jet.
Thank you very much indeed, Greg. Helen from Guildford.
Hello. If the legal age of sex is 16, how come you can go on the pill at 14 and not even have your parents' consent?
It's a very good point, actually. I'm glad we got through to one. Denise.
Yes, that is a very sensible and helpful question, because it points up the fact that this is just a minefield that people go through, because that nobody quite knows what to do. Some doctors think the most important thing to do is to prevent teenage pregnancy, and the last year for which the figures are known, there were 2,000 babies born to girls of 14 or under. And more than 1 in 2 teenage pregnancies is terminated by abortion. Now, no matter where you stand on the issue of morality, that is not a happy situation, because a girl of 14 or under who has a child has her life script written for her in that moment. I get letters from people who've given their children up for adoption, who are go the rest of their life broken-hearted. I get letters from girls who've kept their babies and are having a very, very difficult time. And I wish everybody could get their act together so that we had a proper age and everybody knew and stuck to it.
Helen, thank you for your call. Let's actually, I've got a point has just occurred to me. Do we actually need an age of consent or not? Do you think we do?
Yes, I think we do, because with the rising tide, I'm sorry to sound so depressing, but we have a rising tide of child pornography in this country, and I think we need, it seems to me that young people don't take any notice of the age of consent, but I think we need some means by which we can clobber people who exploit children.
Should we, I can agree with you there, but I mean, should we be putting people who are homosexual and have had a relationship before the age of 21 into prison?
No, of course we shouldn't. I mean, there's no excuse for that. And I can find very little excuse for having a different age for gays and straights.
Let me try Neil in Aberdeen. Hello, Neil.
Fuck off, Denise.
Well, Neil, thank you very much indeed. John from goodness only knows where. John, hello.
It's Bathgate, James.
I beg your pardon?
Bathgate.
Bathgate?
Yes.
Near Glasgow? Okay, John.
My little sister, she's just fell pregnant and she's 15-year-old. I was just wondering, is it legal to have sex when you're a woman at 15?
No.
Yet to have a baby when you're 16, you know?
You mean she could have become pregnant at 15, but she wouldn't actually have the baby till she's 16?
Is that legal or what?
If you're worried about her possibly being in trouble with the law, I think that is very, very unlikely, if that's what's worrying you. In fact, I think it would depend what happened, who is the father of the baby, because if he is somebody of roughly the same age, in all probability nothing will happen. If he is an older man, then it could be a different situation. So probably somebody will talk to her, somebody from social services, and, you know, but I wouldn't worry. Give her all the support that you can.
John, thank you for your call. Denise, thank you for the moment. And where are we? Camera 3. Come up close on me for the moment. I want to talk to the Pillocks and the Pratts up there who are going to phone in and say naughty words. Now, that's okay. I've done a radio show where I've had that going on for quite some considerable time. In fact, a number of years. And I will just stop the programme. The programme will become just like Wogan or anything else if we get all this sort of pillockness from you. Okay? So I don't mind a few, I don't mind a couple here and there, but when I get a whole stream of them and when people are rude to my guests on the programme, the only person who's allowed to be rude on this programme is me, most of the time to you. So if you want to carry on ringing in and being quite cute, unfortunately, because of television, I'm not as close to the calls as I would normally be, otherwise you probably wouldn't get anywhere near me. Pack it in, or we won't have any calls, and the programme will just go back to being bland, boring, the normal, ordinary, everyday sort of TV. Back after the break.
I don't know, but I've been told. J12 on your radio. J12. Now he's on the TV too. J12. Call him now, he'll talk to you.
Okay, welcome back to the show. Last part of the show. My God, we got funny phone calls. We got some incredibly funny and very rude faxes as well. But this one I thought we'd show you. We love Cynthia Payne. Blow us a kiss. Can you blow Zam and Nozza from Southend a kiss?
Kiss.
There we are. That's lovely. And this one is absolutely right. This one, tense, nervous, tired, relax. Thank you. Right, now we get to the mail on the programme, I think. And remember, before we do anything else, that if you want to send us, we've had all sorts of videos this week. None, I'm afraid, that we can play on the programme, and an awful lot of you are sending me in. You can see them afterwards, all right? None of them we can show on the programme. An awful lot of you are sending us in your old holiday videos. Don't want those. We haven't got a video box here, so what we thought was if you have a video at home, you can send us little bits and pieces on video, we could perhaps play them on the programme. And you may notice the lack of attractive bimbo behind me tonight. Well, we get onto the mail, and don't forget any letters I read out will get a packet of the James Whale late night entertainment condoms in several flavours. And where do we go first? First of all, Mr. Haig from Glasgow wrote to me. He says, I'm livid, I'm angry. Why, you ask? He says, because STV took your programme off the air last week. Can't you do anything about this? Well, maybe you could tell us what we missed last week. Well, we did phobias last week, but we did get a letter from you to that. We've got the video of the programme. We'll send it to you. What did we miss last week on the programme? All sorts of things. In fact, Maggie Thomas from Wittering wrote to me. She says, I'm watching your programme, which I enjoy every week. I have one criticism, though. She says, I really thought that your attitude towards Jim Bowen was highly unsympathetic. Remember Jim, of course? Hi, Jim, super, smashing. Was frightened of aeroplanes. In fact, she says, I was very surprised you didn't get a smack in the face from him, as you could quite easily see the anxious and terrified expression on his face. My heart went out to him. Oh, that's nice, isn't it? Very nice. Maggie, thank you for that. And this is one I must read. This is from Sue Wood, who's from Blackburn, and Sue says, look no further. Here is your bimbo. She sent us a little picture of her daughter, Joanne. Is it Joanna? There we are. And I think if we can get you on the show, Joanna, sometime in the near... That bit, you want to see that bit, OK? Sometime in the near future, we will do. In fact, if you'd like to be my bimbo of the week, send us a photograph right into us at this address coming up now. And we'll have you on the show. We'll have another bimbo, I can assure you, next week. Darren Bingham from Belfast wrote in again. Thank you, Darren, for your letter. He says, when are you going to do the show from Belfast? Well, hopefully we will do it there soon. Malcolm from Enfield in London says, my brother-in-law doesn't believe there's such a thing as flavoured condoms. Please prove to him that they are not a figment of my imagination. He is a butcher. Do you make them in beef or lamb flavour? Cynthia? Tell me, is there a flavour to that? You just have to smell it, Cynthia. You don't have to put it in your mouth.
No, I believe in natural products.
You do?
Yeah.
Natural? That one actually is... That's raspberry flavour, so there we are. And let's have another. Fiona Anderson from Mauritius says, please could we have a programme all about men's private parts? We do attract a very strange sort of audience, don't we? And Annis Carroll from St Hilary in Jersey says, I can't see your programme when I'm on the island. Please could you do something about that? Thank you for the letters. And we will have more next week. We have got a competition, and it's here. We're going to give away, and Cynthia, you should know the answer to this, but I don't want you to say anything, all right? I have a whole host of CDs, all worth about 15 quid each. Lots of them. All super, fantastic, marvellous music from CDs. If you have a CD player, they will all be yours if you can tell me the answer to this question. Now, listen carefully. What can you do up to the age of 4, but not again until you're 16? The clue is Cynthia Payne. And Denise hasn't a clue what I'm talking about, have you?
Not a clue.
No? OK. What can you do up to the age of 4, but not again until you're 16? If you know, write it down on a card or the back of a sealed envelope and send it to the address that you know and love, all right? At Yorkshire Television in Leeds, the James Whale Show, Yorkshire Television Leeds. And next week you will be the proud owner, if you get it right, first one I think, to get all these CDs, which we have there. Good. Should we take some calls? What do you think?
Yes.
Or a cup of coffee?
Ones.
Some sensible
Otherwise,
calls?
tell them I give them 10 strokes if the next one's not sensible.
Well, I was waiting when we were going to get around to that. Yeah. Because you had all sorts of people coming to your place, didn't you?
No, not really. They're filmed,
Yeah.
you know, makes me...
Barry never turned up, did he?
No, he'd have been a bit too young. This is 10 years ago. I'm going back 10 years.
Oh, but you would have been a baby by then,
Absolutely.
Barry. A baby. Right, I don't know where the calls are. Have you got the calls, Mel? Oh, good. You're going to pass them over? All right, let's talk to Keith in Wales. Hello, Keith.
Hello.
Hello, Keith.
Is it possible for gay people to become normal again, James?
Well, I don't know. Don't ask me that sort of question, Keith. Is it, Denise? You're the expert.
I don't like the question much because it suggests that they're abnormal. And
what should we call? I mean, a lot of people are going to say, I don't mind people being homosexual, but it's not normal, is it? Mind you, we've not talked...
It's not normal for you or I or other heterosexual people.
But it's normal for gays.
It's normal
Right.
for the people who are
Okay.
homosexual.
And you can't change from one to the other, really?
I think many people have a bisexual relationship at some stage in their lives and are uncertain.
Do you think that's wrong or not?
No, I don't think it's wrong, but that suggests that I'm in the business of promoting. And we should stop this. We should allow people to grow up to be what they are.
We've got to move on to another call now because the director gets very worried when we talk about this sort of thing, promoting homosexuality. He's a little concerned sitting in the box there. Colin from Hull. Hello, Colin.
Hello.
Hi, Colin.
Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, you had Geoffrey Dickens on earlier.
Yes.
And he was saying about the different ages of consent. Now, what gives him the right, really, to tell me? I don't know what kind of family he's got, but what gives him the right to tell me that I could take a 16-year-old daughter of his home and have sex, but not his 20-year-old son? Plus, the laws that are being explained on the programme or whatever don't go far enough. In the armed forces, it's illegal.
That's a very good point. I mean, thanks very much indeed for that, Colin. That's a very good point. In the armed forces, it is still illegal to be homosexual. So how they work that out, I don't really know. Just very quickly, Barry, I mean, what gives an MP the right to start saying, well, this is how it should be?
Well, he's elected by a certain number of people, and he's speaking really as an elected representative. But he can't decide that. That's his opinion after discussing it with people, and it's up to Parliament to change the law, not individual MPs.
Right, we're going to have some more music. Just very quickly, let's talk to Wendy from London. Hello, Wendy.
Hello.
Hi, Wendy.
Yeah, what I was ringing, I was talking to your switchboard operator, is I've got a twin brother, and he is gay. We're both 23, and he's never ever told anyone apart from me.
Yeah.
And he has had a couple, I wouldn't say he's promiscuous, a couple of relationships. But we was talking a couple of weeks ago.
So what's the point? Let's get to the point, Wendy. What is the point you want to make?
Sorry. Well, I think that 21 is the right age, because after speaking to my brother, he said it's a lot harder for men to really come to terms with the fact that they are gay and enter into a gay relationship is something...
Sorry, Wendy, to cut you off, but perhaps the answer is really that 21, perhaps you'll write in and tell us, but maybe 21 is the right age for consent for heterosexuals and homosexuals. Very quickly, yes or no?
I'm not sure, but he's got a very nice, sympathetic sister. He's lucky.
Okay. What was that? Sorry, I didn't hear. You were yelling too loudly. I couldn't quite hear what you said. I'm very sorry. Oh, sorry. Video. Here we go. 1927. That's... Oh, flipping heck. Noise. Just a minute. Bill Piercy from Sutton in Surrey got in touch. He said, please can you tell people who've still got the red noses on the front of their cars to take them off. It annoys him more than anything else. That's the end of the show. Thank you very much indeed to this lot. It doesn't half smell sweaty in here. It really is disgusting and they're so bruised. Thank you to all my guests. Thank you to you for watching. Next week, another super show. Join us then. In the meantime, have a nice weekend. Bye-bye. Thanks a lot.
The James Whale radio show next Friday is at the slightly later time of 1:05.